Hello, yesterday I've shown you how to build this from scratch. Today we're going to be adding a few more things to the scene. So for example, we're going to add something like a floor. So floor, and we're going to put absolutely everything within an assembly. So here we're going to have assembly. Now let's set some styles for the floor. So let's see. Where do we put it? We put it in between the scene and the tree. So floor, and we're going to give it the same dimensions as the scene, and then we're going to give it a background just so that we can see stuff. Okay, now we need to set a margin that's minus half the edge length, which is the same as that for the scene. So now it should cover the scene fully. Next, we're going to set a transform, and this is going to be a rotate X 90 degrees. And this is going to make the floor plane horizontal, but it's not positioned correctly. And we're going to get the right position with a margin top. So we're going to take this and we're going to add margin top here, and we need to bring it down by so these pyramids are put one on top of the other at about half. So we're going to need to bring the floor down by half the edge length of the square out of which we cut those triangles, and then we're going to bring it down by the height of the trunk, which was initially the same edge length L, but then we scaled it down by this factor F. So what we need to use here is we're going to have half plus F times that edge length L. Oops, 0.5. Okay, this should do it. Okay. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to have some before and after elements, pseudo elements. And these are also going to cover the floor fully. Or actually, we don't really need to give dimensions to the floor. We can set the dimensions just on before and after. So we can take those out, and we're going to do this margin top. Okay, content, nothing, and let's see stuff with the background. It should be fine. Okay, not seeing anything, which is awkward. So let's see. Actually, we're going to give it those dimensions anyway. That was a bad idea. So let's undo all that stuff. Let's make this 100%. Okay. Now we should see something. Okay, this is good. Now for the before, we're going to set a gradient background. So background, and this is going to be repeating, and we say linear for now because this is what auto completes, but we really want conic gradient, and we're going to want to take these stops from here okay, and put them here, take the light one once more and put it here at the start, and now you can see we're starting to have something here, 0%, and now we're going to do something else. So let's see, here we're going to take this and we're going to make it a base angle. and we're going to set the space angle on the scene. So here it's going to be a calc, and now we're going to go here and we're going to use that same base angle. Come on. Okay, that's what's missing there. Should be working now. Repeating conic gradient, and it is, as you can see it. And that's good, that's very good. Now, the next thing we're going to want is we're going to take this color once more, and we're going to use it for the after. So, after, we're going to have background, linear gradient, and this is going to be 90 degrees, and it's going to go like this to this. Now this is going to be an RGBA, and it's going to start at 0. So basically it's going to be something like sort of a partial cover. Oh, and also one more thing I want here. I'm going to want to go to 50% there. Okay, so it looks like more like a partial cover, which is good, because that's pretty much what we want for that. And actually we're not going to go from 0% to 100%. We're going to go from something like 39% to 75%, totally random values. Okay, so this looks better now. Let's see, so that we limit everything to the scene. Okay, this doesn't work out. Okay, if it doesn't work out, I'm not going to look into it. I'm just going to do something. Just remove all limits, all visible limits of the scene. And just pretend like nothing's wrong. Now, the next thing that we're going to do here for the before, we're going to add a mask. So, oh, sorry, new line. It needs the prefix for Chrome, and it's going to be a linear gradient. Now, we don't want that. We don't want to write it multiple times, so we're going to have the mask here. So it's going to be radial gradient from fully black to transparent. And of course, this is going to go just to something like 65%, because it's something like this. Okay, so this is going to be my mask, and it's going to be at various positions, stuff like 47, 50%, 50%, 53%, stuff like that. Something like this. Okay, so we have a nice masking now. This looks good. Okay. Now that we've done this, we're going to add a bit of light and shadow. So the way we're going to do that, we're going to plant some polygons right underneath the tree. So we're going to do something like a polygon mixin. So that's going to be mixin polygon, and this is going to take a number of sides, a radius, it might take some offsets. Okay, so actually put the radius first. Okay, then we're going to have the radius, which is, I don't know, something. Am I going to use this multiple times? If not, I can just put it. And here we're going to have an array of vertices. Here we're going to have a loop for I from 0 all the way up to n. I could just copy pasted it from above. Then we're going to have a current angle. Actually, here we compute the base angle. Okay, so here the current angle, and x is going to be, because I'm not going to use it anywhere else, plus the radius times the cosine of the current angle, and it's going to be pretty much the same for the other coordinate, except of course we're going to have y, and this is going to be sine. And finally we're going to push these values and let's make sure we round everything around here, so we want to have nice values, no decimals and stuff like that. So this is going to give us a path, and the attribute is going to be m, and then we just put in whatever. It doesn't really matter. Okay, now within the floor we're going to have an SVG. Now we're going to set some dimensions for the view box. So let's do just that. So dimension, let's say, is going to be something like this. Like this. This is going to be minus half. And the radius, let's say, is going to be something like 0.2. That seems decent. Okay, now that we've done this, let's add a view box here. So view box, and we're going to have the top left offsets dimensions, and then we're going to join this array with a space, and then we're going to have a poly, and it's going to use that radius. So that should be doing it. Okay, it's not doing it. Because all of those are 0 for some reason. So, oh, R is not 0.2, it's 0.2 of D. Sorry. Of course. Okay, that worked. That's pretty faint color there. And I'm guessing it's because of the after mask. So, let's see about that. Let's make the before and the after with z index -1. Though maybe I should do something else that's even better than that. Okay, I'm going to set transform translate. Okay, and the other one, the after, is going to be -1 pixel. So that should do it as well. Pretty sure. Okay, that does it as well. That's good. Okay. Now the problem here, and we can see in the problem, we're also going to want a rotation here by half the base angle. So that's going to be actually, I'm going to make this 1 pixel, and I'm going to make the SVG 2 pixels plus 2 pixels. Okay, this does it. So what I'm going to want to do here is also on the scene, we're going to set an offset angle that's 0 degrees, and we're going to change this on the before and it's going to be calc. It's going to be half the base angle, and we're going to set this as a transform. Oops. Rotate okay, and now those points coincide, which is good. Okay, this looks pretty good. So now that we've done this, and this is going to be my first one, we're also going to have a class here. So this class is going to be its given value or nothing. Okay, so in this case, in the first case, we're going to have light, and then we're going to have a second polygon, which is going to be shadow. Okay, and the number of sides, and then we're going to translate by something like 0.2r, something like this. So we're going to have a second polygon there too. And on the second polygon, on the shadow one, I'm going to want to have, actually I'm also going to want to have a slightly bigger radius. I'm going to want to blur it. Now, I don't really know how the blur filter works, so filter blur something. So let's just okay, so I have these x, so these are the dimensions, so we don't get a cut off on the filter. And I'm not going to use those hard-coded values. I'm going to do something like so my filter dimensions, I'm going to have 200, and like the top left offset is going to be this minus 100, the 100% in the middle, and I'm going to take half of it, so and it's going to be with minus, of course. Okay, so now that I've done this, I'm going to use these values right here. So for the width and the height, so I interpolate that, and I'm going to have %. And then here again, I'm going to do something similar. So I interpolate, and again I have %. Okay, then I'm going to have well, pretty much this. Just copy paste it. Okay, and this is going to be a different value, something like 15. I don't know. Now we're going to apply this filter here. How do you do that? Let's add another thing here. So filter, and let's do something like this. It's going to be no, I'm not going to do the URL thing. I'm just going to do something like this. And here it's going to be class C and filter F, and that should do it. And here I'm going to have so this should do it, and for some reason it doesn't work. Okay. Okay. Now I get it why it doesn't work. I should have had a 0 there for the Y offset. So that's why it didn't work. Okay, now it works. Good. Now that I've done this, I'm going to have something like this. So on the floor, let's collapse this for a moment. Light is going to get a fill, which is going to be map get back color, and it's going to be the light one. Okay. Okay, so 0.2, I think it's too small. Let's make it 0.5. Okay, that's way better. Okay, now the next thing that I'm going to want to do is make that rotation more generic. So this rotation from here, I'm going to want to make it more generic. So to do so, I'm going to make it a rotate 3D. Around the along the x-axis, the component is always going to be 0. Along the y-axis, I'm going to have a cy, and along the z-axis, I'm going to have a cz. And this is going to be calc, and it's going to use the offset angle plus 1 turn. Okay. This is good. Now we're going to need to set those cy and cz values. And initially, cy, we're going to have a rotation is going to be 0, and cz is going to be calc. I can't write 1 minus. So this should do it initially. And now for my tree, I'm going to have that cy is 1. Okay, and the next thing that I'm going to do is we're going to apply this rotation for floor before, path, and tree. Okay. So that's not exactly okay. And the thing is, I don't like how the shadow is rotating. It's not rotating around its central point, which means I can just remove those offsets from there, and it's not going to make a difference. So I'm just going to remove the offsets. And put the second polygon into a group, which is going to have a transform, translate, and here I'm going to interpolate half the radius, and just now it's way better. Okay, except not everything rotates in the same direction. So I'm going to make this 2, and I'm going to make this animation direction reverse. And now everything rotates in the same direction. One more thing I don't like here. I want this a bit darker, so I'm going to mix with black. So mix, because I want it darker. Okay, now this looks better. Now the final step here is we're going to add some snow. So we're going to have a number of snow particles. Whatever, some random number there, it doesn't matter, it can be anything. And we're going to go all the way to the end. Make sure it's not within the tree. So it should be on the same indentation level as the tree and the floor. So snow, and then have a while loop, and here have a flake, and we're going to have a bottom a bunch of styles. So we're going to have an X position, and this is going to be a random volume. And then we're going to have a Z, and then we're going to have a scaling factor, and then we're going to have something like, I don't know, like a sort of a delay factor. Okay, and we're going to limit this, so it's going to be 0.25 plus and then we're going to round, not round, I don't think I did those. Don't think I did. So but here I am going to need them. So just that, and now let's go back to styling our flakes. So at the very end, we're going to add some flake styles. So flake, this is going to be something like this, border radius 50%, background white. Actually, we're going to set color white, and we're going to set, oh sorry, and then we're going to set background to current color, and we're also going to set transform, translate 3D, and here we're going to have a bunch of calc values. So calc times, I don't know, something like 2 times that base edge length. Then I'm going to use this again. For now, let's use 0 for the Y, and this is going to be for the Z. So we should be seeing some flakes. Since we're not, it means something's wrong, because we should be having them there. Okay, let's see what the problem is. So we have the snow. Okay, I'm not interpolating stuff. That's what's wrong. So yeah, that's an awkward one. Like this. Okay, and this also needs to be interpolated. Okay. What's happening? This is shocking. I can take those out, you know, but I doubt that's the problem. And I can also generate them from the CSS. I just don't get what the problem might be. Oh, multiplication there. That's the problem. Okay. So yeah, I'm having my flakes, as you can see them there. They're pretty ugly. So let's fix that. box shadow, we're going to have 0, blur, and this is going to be current color. We're also going to have filter, blur, okay. Now we don't want them starting just from the middle, we want them all around, so that's going to be -0.5. Okay, we want them to start high up. So that's going to be minus high up. And we want them to come a bit from the front towards the back over the tree. So that's going to be, we increase this. Now we're going to take this value and we're going to set keyframe here. So keyframes full 2, so this is going to be minus again, this is going to be plus, and actually we're going to do a bit more than that, but for now just leave it like that. Okay, and let's see. Animation, full, infinite. Yeah, that's not exactly what we want. We're also going to want to have a fade. So, sorry. Keyframes, fade, to opacity 0, and here we're going to have animation name, full fade. Okay, so obviously we're not going to want them all to be falling at the same time, to have the same duration. So here we're going to have a calc value. So calc, and we're going to use that f value. Okay, and then we're going to have, actually I'm going to take this as a t. And one more thing, I need to interpolate this. Okay, and here I'm going to have an animation delay. Okay, so that stuff falls more chaotically. Okay, now one more thing, I don't want them to fall, all of them to fall all the way down. So in order to do that, I'm going to use that factor again. So calc, so some of them are not going to fall all the way down. And also the timing, I want a different timing. So animation timing function is going to be, I'm going to leave it as ease, and ease out, but I want something a bit more pronounced than ease out though. for the opacity, so I'm going to use something from here. Let's say something like this, and I'm going to take this, replace it there. Okay, let's remove those zeros because we don't really need them. Okay, so yeah, this is it. This is the whole thing. We have a winter snowing scene, and it's all pure CSS. It's done with custom properties and various things like that. And yes, it only works in Chrome because we're using that conic gradient thing, and it's only supported natively in Chrome. And it can be emulated in other browsers with the polyfill, but the polyfill doesn't support using custom properties within the gradient. So yeah, it's only going to work fully in Chrome, and Edge doesn't even support stuff like calc for delays or angles and stuff like that. So yeah, this is it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have and you want me to be able to do more stuff in the future, please consider supporting my work in one of the ways explained in the description below with a donation, because this can help immensely, even a small sum, or you can get me something off my Amazon wishlist. In any event, thanks for watching.